Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Klein. I'm the Senior Director of Learning Partnerships at Northern Illinois University in the Illinois P20 Network, and really excited to be here making this video. This is really the whole idea of career readiness and career and college preparation. We are revisiting a conversation we had a number of years ago with students who are former students, both are true, who are a few years into their post-secondary experience and moving quickly along their career paths. And so we're going to start with a round of introductions. We've got some questions. You can watch the original video. We've linked that here in the YouTube video. It's in the description below. And we have this awesome group. And I'm going to let Mr. Mackey both introduce himself, and so if you don't watch that whole video, tell you a little bit about what they were all doing together in high school and why we've brought them back together. Mr. Mackey?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Like I said, my name is Travis Mackey. I'm currently I'm now retired principal at Geneseo High School. Although I'm still doing some major work with the school in the CTE program, and also just involved with this Career Connection website, which was something that kind of evolved when I first became principal, because I just felt like this was a great way to connect our students with our alumni and help them figure out their path, or maybe help them figure out what they don't want to do. So we wanted them to be able to ask them questions, the same people that walked the same hallways they did, maybe had the same teachers that they did, but you knew that they were ready to help and willing to help. So we developed it, and this actually is our very first group that we kicked this off with. So super excited to hear what they're doing, where they're headed. They're recently going to be graduating, or just recently graduated. So they're just excited about their career moves. And I'm going to kick it off with Morgan, so she can give us an update on what she's doing.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I think in our first meeting, I probably said I wanted to go to Iowa State University to study architecture. And I did end up coming to Iowa State, and I'm in the interior design program actually. The way the program is set up here is that every design student goes through their first year together, and then you apply for your intended program. And I realized after my freshman year that I didn't like trigonometry or physics, so I wanted to go into interior design instead of architecture. I will now kick it off to Avery.
My name is Avery. I originally, when we did this meeting, I think I wanted to go into engineering, something math and science. I'm now at the University of Iowa. I'm in my second year of pharmacy school. So I did 2 years of undergraduate and an accelerated undergraduate program. And I'm in my second year of pharmacy school. So I have 2 more years until I graduate and a couple more years before I'm in the workforce. But that's what I'm currently up to.
Hi, my name is Allison. I do not remember what I said I wanted to do the last, probably, I don't know, something health sciences, or I don't know. I've been through so many different fields at this point, but I'm currently a senior at the University of Iowa, and I have three majors. And I picked the first two. The first two were economics and international relations. And I just picked them because I liked the coursework in them. And then I realized I was going to graduate early, and I panicked because I didn't want to do that. So I added a third major just simply to stay in college longer. So that major is ethics and public policy. And I've done 2 internships at John Deere, both in supply management. And that was enough to know that I don't really want to go into that. And I do have a job offer from them. But now I'm just kind of trying to find something else that maybe I'm a little bit more passionate about. So in sum, I don't know yet exactly what I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out and it'll all be okay. So thank you.
And I am the one who was muted. Sorry about that, everybody. These are such interesting careers, first of all, and interesting paths that you've kind of maneuvered through over the last 4 years here. My next question is, while you haven't entered your careers full-time at this point, but you've had some experiences both through your coursework as well as possibly some other experiences, like we heard about the experiences, for example. Thinking back to middle school or high school, and I know high school seems like a long time ago, middle school seems like lifetimes ago. I understand that. But really, that 6 to 10 year window goes by pretty quickly, and there's a lot that needs to be learned in frankly a pretty short amount of time. So thinking about those experiences, what's one experience that was just right for you to help either give you some skills that you think you're going to need in your career or help you figure out what you want to do career wise? And then also, what's one experience that we as teachers kind of got completely wrong, or we said, you need to know this, and thus far your experience, and this may change in the future, is like, I don't need to know that. That's not something that we need to know. Any answers to either of those questions? Who wants to jump in?
I can start. I think that the coursework that was offered in middle school and high school, and then like the rigorousness of it was fantastic. I think I came into college feeling really prepared, like academic wise. I think we had a really strong foundation, coming from the Geneseo School District of like how to be successful coursework wise in college. And I also feel like our wide variety of extracurricular activities really gave us like opportunities to get involved and it's like practice those networking and communication skills at such a young age. And then I also think that the school district has a really good group of teachers that could serve as mentors and assistants. So they were really instrumental in helping us with our be successful to get to where we are today.
I'll touch on something. I wouldn't say it's something that was just completely wrong, but something I felt like I was missing was like ability to talk with people I don't know. Like going to a small school, like I knew a lot of the teachers because they were either my coach or someone else's coach. And I think once like I had to go through a whole interview process to get into school and being able to talk to someone you don't know. And I think that was something I felt like I was missing, but you develop that skill with practice. And so maybe just practice of it was something that I wish I would have done more of.
I think a really specific activity and assignment we did, and I think our sophomore year of English was using the like career readiness website and everything and like contacting people who had graduated from Geneseo and were potentially going into fields we were interested in. Because I remember I reached out to anyone who went to Iowa State, anyone who potentially did anything in design, and I was able to get a wide variety of perspectives on what it would be like to go to school here or what it would be like to actually be in the field. And I think that was allowed me to kind of pinpoint where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So that assignment was really helpful, I thought, in the sophomore year of high school. I do think the pressure to be in AP classes in high school kind of set me behind, honestly, just because you don't always get the college credit for your AP classes. You're getting more credit for your like dual credit or like if you're taking Black Hawk classes. So I think if there was more of an emphasis on those types of classes or if there was more offered, that would set students up for more success with like going into college with more credits.
So that was really interesting stuff. I want to bounce off something Allison said and ask all of you a question. And the question I want to ask is, and I know this is true at both the University of Iowa and Iowa State University. I know this is true at all 12 of the public universities in Illinois. And I know it's true at all of the community colleges, the dozens of community colleges across Illinois. And I think it's pretty much true across the United States and throughout North America. With new students coming to universities or community colleges, like at orientation or welcome week kinds of activities, there's a big emphasis on saying to students, get involved in something. And we heard Allison talk about being involved at Geneseo, and everybody's nodding. Have you gotten involved in some kind of activity at your university? How quickly did you do that? And what parts about that would you say were easy for you? And was there anything hard or any advice you would offer, not only to teachers who might be watching this, but to then high school students, for example, who might watch this?
I'll bounce off that idea. I did not actually get super involved when I started college. I was in one organization and it was for students who were pre-pharmacy at the University of Iowa. So it was a very specific group of people doing the same thing. And looking back now, I kind of wish I would have gotten more involved because it would have exposed me to people outside of the small group of people that I was with all the time anyway. But now that I'm in school, I'm in a few professional organizations. And I didn't even know that they existed until I was in a graduate program. And so I kind of wish that I had known about these organizations and that you could get involved beyond being in like intramural sports, because that's all I kind of knew about. Because now looking at it, it's a really good way to build my resume and also build myself as a professional. And so just more, I guess, like I'd want to know what my teachers had experienced if they were involved in things like that, because we don't talk about what our teachers' like college career looks like. And knowing how our teachers got to where they are is something that I find fascinating and educational myself.
Allison, did you want to jump in, please?
Yeah, I'm actually a tour guide right now. So when you mentioned that like we talk to incoming students, we have like huge, we call them Hawkeye visit days. And we do place so much emphasis on like getting involved, even if it's small things. The most recently added club at Iowa was the waffle eating club. So they meet every Tuesday night and cook waffles and then go home. And they even have shirts that say waffle eating club at Iowa. And it sounds funny, but even like something as simple as that will make you new friends and allow you to network and like branch out on a campus that may seem large and overwhelming. And we also have career fairs and organization fairs that are really important to take advantage of. That's how I kind of learned about the organizations that exist on campus. So yeah, I agree with what Avery said, like just letting students know that it's important to like first explore what's out there so that way you can be prepared when you get to campus and you know ways to branch out. And then as for my involvement, I run with the track club on campus. So we just run for fun. We go to a couple like local D3 colleges for meets. I was the president last year, which was a really great leadership role for me. And then I also have two on-campus jobs, the tour guiding, and then I also work at the bookstore on campus. So also a really great way to like push yourself out of your comfort zone right away. So, but yes, you're right. We do want incoming students to like get involved as much as possible. That is very important.
I think as a freshman, it can be really intimidating, especially going to a bigger school when you're from such a small high school. I didn't realize how many 36,000 people was going to be when I actually got to campus. So as a freshman, I kind of avoided joining things because I thought of myself as an introvert. And then we had an assignment to go to the club fair, and I went and then I joined a whole bunch of stuff. And now I would definitely consider myself an extrovert. I am also on a club sports team at Iowa State. I'm the president of the interior design club. So I just try to like diversify what I joined so then I could meet a wide variety of people and then kind of cover all of my interests. So I didn't feel like I was giving up one thing to like just pursue my professional program and things like that. So I think for students, it's really important to like recognize that it can be scary, but like everyone else is also scared. So it's really important to like go get involved to make friends and to network. But then it's important for teachers to help influence their students to go join something that might not necessarily be academically related, like going to join the waffle club just to meet people with a similar interest is really important.
So this is a fantastic conversation. First of all, I think, and I'm looking at Mr. Mackey here too, I think you've given us something really actionable that we can promote that's really easy for teachers to do. It doesn't take planning. It doesn't take finding new resources on the internet. Second of all, as we're recording this, and obviously people will continue to watch this over time, but we're recording this on a Monday evening in November of 2024, and it's the here in Illinois of first gen college student week. And I think especially about the experiences for first generation post-secondary students, knowing both how important this is, but also how to do it and what kinds of things, like, again, their high school teachers have been involved with, that can be really helpful, right? That can really make that experience much more accessible to all students. And the third thing I'll just mention is, this is kind of a funny topic because I didn't anticipate talking about it. And just yesterday morning, my own college kid told me about two of her friends from freshman year in the dorms who started on campus, and they've had runs with the parents, and it's like to build community, and there's hundreds of kids. There's nothing competitive about it. They had Nike out for their last run of the semester to let people try on shoes. And I mean, it's just really, really kind of neat. And I said, is this an actual registered student organization? And she said, yeah. And I said, do they have a website or just Instagram? And just Instagram, Dad. And but I went to Instagram, I followed them, and I'm looking through the stuff last night, then hours later, and it just goes to show everything you've said is true. And certainly, like the two students who decide to start this thing, the skills that they will be able to use in their careers, as well as, frankly, in their communities, right? To help communities move forward with decisions like we have to do in school districts and in our municipal governments. It's awesome. So thank you for bringing this up. Thank you all for offering these. I mean, even with all of you who are successfully moving through your post-secondary experiences, we heard, freshman year, that was kind of hard. And so if you felt that way, that probably that other people, as they move into that new university or community college experience, are probably going to feel that way even more than you did, given some of what you were able to bring to the table from your own high school experiences. And so this is something that all of us as teachers can grab onto and make happen. So that's awesome. Thank you. So one piece of advice you would give to a 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th grader about school or identifying kind of a career path, anything in that space based on where you're at right now?
I think if I could go back and tell myself anything from when I was like 15 years old, it would be that it's okay to like not have it all figured out at 15, because even at 21 now, I still don't really have it all figured out. And that if you can kind of just narrow down what your interests are, or like even figure out things that you don't like, that makes a big difference. Because when you go to school, they kind of make you take a wide variety of classes anyway. Your gen eds are just like regular curriculum classes your freshman year, that just based on those classes. And then if you know what your interests are or what your interests are not, then you'll be able to figure out a major more easily. Because I know that there are a lot of students who don't even land on a major until they've made a decision 3 or 4 times over, or they're a sophomore or junior. So it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world if you don't know exactly what it is. But even just knowing yourself well enough to be like, I think I would like something in the arts, or I think I would like something in the sciences, that makes a really big difference.
I think echoing off of Morgan's idea is like just be curious. Like there's more jobs than just a lawyer, doctor, the typical like 5 that you rattle off when you say jobs. Um, I think I wish I would have kept my options open a little more. Like even when we had to do that activity that Morgan had mentioned, where we had to look at careers based off our questionnaire. Like the questionnaire only is based off of 50 questions. Like there's so much more to you than a 50 question questionnaire. And so I think I let that questionnaire kind of guide me for a second. And then I was like, wait a minute, like these things may be what I am on paper, but they're not what I feel like I belong doing. And so just keeping an open mind to what I wanted to do. And like even when I was a senior in high school, I was still deciding what I was going to do. And it kind of just like fell into my hands because I let them be open to catch the idea.
Yeah, I agree. It's absolutely okay to not know clearly it's fine. I'm doing fine still. So, and also it's okay to make changes. Like you can change your major, you can change your plan. I know you mentioned the accounting, and yes, I mean that sucks, but that's still fine. Like people do that all the time, every day. And you'll change as a person a lot when you leave your hometown. Geneseo is a small town, and sometimes not a lot of like views are represented. And so once you leave and you explore the world, you realize it's so much bigger than what you realized, and you will change, your interests will change. And also the importance of just talking to people. Like even just one conversation can open up a door or change your mind about something or give you a new opportunity. And also you don't really know if you like something until you try it. Like hands-on experience is absolutely the best way to figure out if you actually want to do that for the rest of your life, or even if you just want to do it for a couple years and then change your plan again. So change is okay.
So before we go on to the next question, I want to just mention something, particularly for anybody watching this, and probably many of the educators who might be watching this, they know this. So the thing we want to balance in helping students as they move through middle school and high school and figure out what they're going to do post-secondary is, first of all, what we just heard is absolutely true. You're not going to have one job throughout your career. The research is really, really clear on that. Turns out I've been in education since I walked out of school, since I graduated with my bachelor's, but I've had some very, very different jobs, from classroom teacher to being in charge of technology in a school district at a time when technology was changing entirely, to the different things I do in my current job. And so that's true for all of our students today. So that idea of being able to change is really important. Second of all, we also want to be careful, sure that students minimize how much their post-secondary experience costs them. Because we've got a situation in this country where we don't want you having to be paying off your post-secondary experience for the rest of your life so that you can have money to spend on other things, like a home, like travel, like children, whatever those things are for different people. And so that's the balancing act that we're all trying to strike in helping support our students. But some incredibly wise words from these three. So not to put the pressure on, but let's hope one more round of really, really wise words. What's one piece of advice you would give to your middle school and high school teachers?
I can start on this one. So I think that there was a ton of pressure to pick something, or kind of no. And I think there was also too much emphasis on linear career paths. And in reality, like linear career paths are not the majority of people's paths. And especially in Geneseo, I think just because it was a smaller community, we just kind of grew up with you major in education, you be a teacher. You major in nursing, you be a nurse. And that was it. Like no one ever told me I could major in economics and do a ton of jobs. Like that opens up so many doors. And I don't even know what any of those doors are right now. So I think that I just wish that someone would have told me, like, it's okay to pick like a major that people will look at you and be like, what are you studying? Like, what job will you do with that? And it's okay for me to say, I don't know. I'm gonna figure that out because I know there's something out there. And I purposely picked my majors so that way I could have like so many options. And I just think that there's not very much exposure to that, especially in like middle school and high school levels. And even just having a role model of someone in college come in and tell us like, hey, I'm studying this, don't really know where it's going to lead me yet, but I just know that I'm interested in the classes. Even something as simple as that, just to make people feel a little bit more secure.
Kind of building off of what Allison was saying, I think when teachers are having conversations with their students, they could really focus on being open-minded to what the students' interests are, kind of like what they're thinking, and not have so much of an opinion, just kind of be like a sounding board for the student, just to be like, even if the student isn't great at math, but they want to pursue something in engineering, just kind of tell them like, you know what, there's always room for growth in math and you would be a really good engineer and stuff like that. Because I think kind of like what Avery was saying earlier, you get told one thing or you get like put in a specific box when you're 16. and that's what you think defines the rest of your life. So I think if you could have the mentors like in your teachers as a middle schooler or a high schooler to just remind you to be open-minded and that like you are always going to develop new skills. So even if something isn't working for you right now, it will improve. So you should just keep pursuing what's ever going to make you the happiest.
I think all of those ideas were great. I'm going to kind of switch a little bit. Of one thing was like pushing kids to be uncomfortable, which I know is kind of like a weird thing, but like I had a lot of teachers in high school that challenged me beyond what I thought my limits were. And so then I grew a lot as a person. I think that's kind of why I ended up where I am today, because I was like, well, I like the challenge. The challenge is good for me. And I think like letting students know that a challenge is, it's okay to be challenged. It's okay to push past what you think you need to do, because like the teachers that did that for me are 100% the reason why I am at where I'm at today.
Lots of incredible advice in here. Yeah, if your current career ideas don't, you can all be, you guys would make a great podcast team to, I mean, the money is not really there in podcasts like it was 3 years ago. I'll just be clear. Maybe it's a side gig, but anyways, with that said, I shared with this group a copy of the Illinois State Board of Education's cross-sector essential employability competencies, or what we call for short, the essential skills. And we've also, I will link those here in the description of the YouTube channel as well. Obviously, we don't expect the three of you to, you just looked at that the first time. Here are these essential skills. But kind of thinking about that document, based on where you're at now, and knowing that 5 years from now, if we were to do this again, your answer might change after a number of years in the workforce, maybe a career or some promotions already, whatever it is. How important right now do you think these skills are for success in a post-secondary environment? And what do you think about for for success in a post-university environment like a career?
I think that this list is pretty much covers all of the essentials. When I'm looking at my LinkedIn for like companies that want specific skills in someone they hire, this is what is frequently popping up. So I try to make sure that that's what's showing up on my LinkedIn as like skills that I possess. Especially in the design world, adaptability and flexibility is a huge deal because you're going to be working on so many different types of teams. You're going to be working with a variety of clients. So it's as long as you're able to kind of cater your working style to other people, you're going to be really successful. Of course, the other skills are also really important, but just being open and adaptable to your surroundings is really important in the design industry.
Yeah, I also had noted the adaptability and flexibility, but I was looking at it more from like a just changes in your life standpoint, not really applied to a specific career, but just like understanding that things change, you know. I mean, I've already really hammered that point home, but so those skills were really important. Also the growth mindset, knowing that if you want to get better at something, you can just put your mind to it, work towards it, even if that applies to like a career that maybe you think is unattainable, because maybe your grades haven't been so great in that section. But just knowing that if that's a goal and you want to work towards it, then you should definitely go for it. And then I'd also noted the communication skill, and that has worked for me related to careers because we have a career center on campus, and those career coaches have been so helpful to me. Just figuring out like what internships are out there, what job shadows are out there, because just sometimes like one conversation will just show you an opportunity that you didn't know about before. And so I think that being able to communicate with people about what your interests are, and then they can maybe see it through their perspective and be like, oh, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should look into that job. And you never know where that kind of stuff will take you to. So I think communication for me is probably the number one from that list.
I like both of the ones that we touched on. I think one of the ideas that stood out to me that I utilize this a lot actually now was the initiative and self-drive. It talks about goal setting. And I am forced to, by the university, make goals that I have to submit in. But I realized that I actually really enjoy them and I really follow to them. And so I've been doing them on my own. And I kind of, going back to a previous question, wish that was something that we had discussed a little more while we were in school, is we set like short-term goals, like medium length goals, and then long-term goals. And then like checking your progress daily on where you're going, because understanding that your goals can change is something that's really big, but also having a goal helps you be like want to go to where you're going. And it makes the big picture, while also giving it steps. And so that was something that really stood out to me that I really emphasize.
This was awesome. Mr. Mackey, before I wrap us up, do you have any comments or things you want to add?
Well, I definitely appreciate all three of you and what you have done for Geneseo, but what you continue to do and represent. I think all three of you are going to be super successful, whatever you do. And I think you really put it in perspective. It was almost 1/3 that said, "Okay, I'm really close to what I thought I was going to do in high school, just a slight shift." Another one was, "Okay, I knew what I was good at, but now this is what I really want to do." And then a third one still exploring, but definitely gonna come away with some great knowledge in that. So, and that's probably what represents our high school now, that we'll have, but what we have done, which you guys will be excited about, is since you guys have graduated, we've added a career fair and job expo. So had 70 tables set up last year, and people came and they got to introduce themselves to people. So they got to know adults a little bit more, learn some skills there. And then two, we've added job shadowing opportunities where you can come in and you can do a 4-hour stint just to explore something and see exactly what it's about. Those have been beneficial too. So we keep learning too as adults. I appreciate the comments you made, because I took a lot of notes, and we're going to continue to try to get better at this, so that students feel comfortable and they feel like they have a lot of control over what they do. And sometimes if you don't have control, it's okay. It's like we've introduced them to a lot of varieties. One of our alumni is a flavor salesman, which, like we said, we talk about food sciences and how can you use something like that? Well, and the other piece is that we're seeing more jobs that are remote. And so you can live anywhere and have a certain job. So those are things that we're bringing out to students. But you three, again, you'll always be tops of the list, because you were the basically the pioneers that set the tone, and hopefully it continues to grow and build from there.
School districts and post-secondary institutions across Illinois have really doubled down on trying to get better and better and better year over year at providing these types of opportunities for all of our students, to ensure that all of our students can grow up and both do what they're interested and passionate about, but also in a way that offers them a viable career where the labor market has a need. And so, and these examples from Geneseo are just, on the one hand, one example, but on the other hand, it is such a great example of how each community can look at its own strengths within its community and say, how do we take these big ideas and turn them into action here locally? And so thank you, all three of you, for giving up some time on this Monday evening as the semester heats up, even while it cools down. We really appreciate you giving us that time. Mr. Mackey, thank you for helping put this together and for both your work while they were in high school alongside all of your colleagues there, and your continued work after both they're out of high school and you're retired. And so it's awesome. And thank you all. Really amazing learning experience for watching this.